tWoTcast, episode 257. Whose intro is it? Stormtrooper sitting around.
All right, everyone, shut the f*** up.
Wheel of Time, reread podcast, explicit and R freaking rated. Jono's the wild card, always talking shit. Joe's the straight man, he's a total dick. Tom calls in if he's not too busy. We are tWoTcast!
You're listening to tWoTcast, the Wheel of Time reread podcast, now covering Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time, Book 1, The Whispering Eye of the World. With me, as always, is Jono. Jono. And I'm Joe, and Tom is sometimes here too and is currently laughing.
I'm
not sure why.
I'm here all the time now. We're in quarantine.
You are here all the time now. But also you said you would do that when we started this book again. And by book, I mean book series. So,
My book series, I mean, The Wheel of Time.
Good job committing. I'm proud of you.
Well, we're talking about things I like.
You were still out of one or two of these episodes, right?
I think just one.
Didn't like that part.
I think just one.
I think one,
I
at
don't know
least
why.
It's at least
maybe
one.
two. I think it's maybe. I think it's a solid maybe for a two.
What
I
chapter?
guess I was still working at some point. Forgot what that was like.
Yeah, I was weirdly less busy at the beginning of this. I feel like my job was just like, we don't know what to do with all of you. And I'm like, my job hasn't changed. But now it's shifted to like, they're scrambling to do new stuff all the time and constantly being like, here's more work for you. And I'm like, God damn it. I was just drawing for half the day before.
Everybody.
Now I'm suddenly working my whole shift.
Everybody works at home, and everyone's job is entirely based off of the internet. And all of a sudden, the web designers will be like, "Fuck!
God damn it.
Wait a minute.
What do you mean we're
web-based?
What do you mean we're debuting new product lines that somehow work with social distancing?
Go back
very
to
mad
the
at this.
physical workspaces, please."
This is bullshit.
Yeah, I don't really know what to talk about.
Let's do reading, watching, playing for everybody.
Well, mine's easy. I'm still reading A Girl Who Lived Twice and Westworld Season 3 and Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Nothing to really talk about there.
That was fucking fast.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it. We haven't really talked about Westworld Season 3, but it's pretty good so far. I like it.
I liked it all right. I'm playing Disney Arena.
You know what I like about that show? It's the fact that the budget's the same as The Wheel of Time Season 1, and I'm looking at that show going like, this is a really well put together show, and then I'm going, this is how much money The Wheel of Time has? What are we worried about?
Well,
So much money. They're going to make it look so good.
Tom, finish.
I think you just get worried because you're just like, you just don't want it to start in like 5 minutes, and you're just like, oh no.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Ileana.
I sort of got it. They don't cast Billy Zane as something. I think they should still cast him as Luce Theron. Why not? Rolls open.
I feel like the same thing. Like, why not? Like, he's literally not going to be there.
Hey, that guy's better than that production. Like, he shouldn't have been involved in that piece of shit. Put him in a real show.
It's kind of fascinating that they got Billy Zane, obviously most famous for his.
You mean The Phantom?
Exactly what I was going to say. I love the Phantom.
You know who's kind of a phantom throughout the book series is Luce Theron.
Oh.
Keep it going.
A Phantom.
No
Keep it going.
Okay.
I don't even know how to do watching. There's so much to watch. I finished Ozark Season 3.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Wasn't the brother good, man?
I'm so glad he's dead.
I didn't recognize him.
I was glad he was dead too. He was driving me crazy. But as an actor, he did a great job.
Yeah. Fuck me. Yeah.
I didn't recognize him the whole show, and then I think one night I was drinking, and I was like, I'll listen to our latest episode of this podcast for a little bit, and then
I was rambling about it.
You said it, and I was like, oh shit, that's who that was.
Yeah. That's what it was like. It was bothering me that I recognized him and yet didn't know who it was. And then finally I was like, let me IMDb this. I can't figure it out. And then I was like, oh my God, he's so different in those shows. That shows some range, if nothing else.
And I watched Never Have I Ever on Netflix. And catching up on Rick and Morty. There's new episodes coming out though.
Yeah, I haven't watched any.
Are we playing Never Have I Ever like right now?
No.
And also, what is Never Have I Ever?
That's what you literally say what you never done. Like
it's like a teen show on. It's like a teen show on Netflix. It's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. That
I've
Disney Arena game though
in my,
is
in my What We Do in the Shadows season 2.
yeah.
I've completely stalled.
Wait, what?
I just haven't had time to like. I'm too tired at night. I haven't had time to watch. Like after me and Lauren go to bed, I'm like, I can watch an episode of this or listen to a book and pass out.
Like waiting for it all to come out anyway and just watching it all at once.
Yeah, it's almost done. I think.
It is only a couple more episodes. It's
that's
just
when I'll watch it.
It's like what we do Monday at fucking noon right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Well, if I watched it with Lauren, I probably would be current. But I watch it alone, so like by the time she falls asleep, I'm like, okay, let me see if I have enough energy to watch 30 minutes. Nope, I don't.
Did you get the Superb Owl yet?
No.
It's a Super Bowl party, but they think it's Superb Owl. Because the owl is very important to vampires. They're very excited.
Doesn't make any sense in the best way possible.
Not that I was ever out. I've just stalled on it. Not for lack of caring for the show.
Also, Craig Robinson is in it. Like he's in at least 3 or 4 episodes.
Fantastic.
And
he's fantastic. I love that guy.
I did. Did you guys watch Ghosted? Like, I feel like that's something Tom would have watched the entire season of.
I watched a little bit. I guess I'm going to say something that disagrees with you both, but I don't like Craig Robinson. I don't think he's funny.
Well, you're racist.
That's why I don't like him.
Yeah, it's you're right.
I felt like that was clear.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know,
I'm going to say something that doesn't jive with you guys. I don't like black people. Whoa! Holy shit!
I mean, it's pretty obvious, Joe. You're a white guy. Yeah. You don't have to say things like that.
Pretty fly, though.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Cut all of this.
God.
Cut the whole thing. It's out. Actually, it probably should be cut anyway.
Just fucking end your life. Yeah. All right, I'll just cut in when I said end your life.
Oh, you know who else I hate is fucking Dax Shepard. And then I was starting to watch Ghosted, and then they're like, next week, Dax Shepard. I'm like,
but I don't like him.
I can't stand that guy for some reason either.
He's kind of.
Is it because he dates a Disney princess? Or is it because he's married to a Disney princess?
No, I hated him from the very beginning. The second I saw his stupid face.
Is it because it sounds like it should be Dick's Shepard?
Well,
what kind of name is Dax?
That'd be fantastic.
Dick Shepard.
Maybe that's why I hate him. It's like, your name's not Dex. Get out of my TV. Get off of it. Get off of it.
I'm going to angrily keep saying this until I change the channel.
Wait, I could have done that?
Yeah, anytime.
Wow, I watched a lot of Punk for
dinner time, lunchtime.
Anytime.
Literally anytime.
Literally.
I just randomly wanted to go back to Community because I just remembered. You know the part where Chevy Chase is talking to his phone? He's like, voice command.
Yeah.
Voice command.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
You know, it's funny.
All the time.
I still haven't done it, but we have like Alexa sprinkled throughout the house, and now it's probably going to listen to me now. And whatever. Anyway,
it's listening to you anyway, dude.
Of course it is. My point being is you can change the name of what you call it. Now I almost called it voice command. I still haven't done it yet. I don't know why I'm lazy, but I was just like, how funny would it be if I was like, voice command?
Man, I definitely want to do that. Voice
play
command.
This.
Turn on the downstairs light.
Voice command. Call.
I thought about changing it to computer just so I could say computer like Batman does in the Batcave.
I just randomly, if I'm trying to do something on the phone or it's not working right or like my hands are full but I'm reaching for it, I'm like frustrated. I'm just like, voice command.
You should name it Jarvis or Friday, like Iron Man's helmet.
Voice command. That's all I care about.
Voice command is the best one. What do you guys? Do you guys have any tales from?
Well, I didn't do reading, wasn't playing yet.
We don't care about
your
what
reading,
you're
watching,
doing.
playing.
Oh, god damn it. So,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
the last Witcher book, which I forget the name of it.
You're doing
Christ, every
last
time.
No,
No, it's a different book. He still just doesn't remember the name, so none of this matters.
Yeah, there we go.
Just a Witcher book. Oh, I still haven't watched Witcher. I'm so stupid. I keep forgetting that show.
It's fun. I enjoy it, but I feel like it's awful for like a new. If you never played the game or never read the books, I'm like, why would you watch this? It seems awful.
Because I
But I've
love
said that
Superman. Obvious.
I watched it the whole way through, and the whole time I was like, why am I watching it? I don't like it. It's not good.
It's got some really cool fucking like I think Polish like folklore and shit like that in it.
Yeah.
But again, you're not going to know about it unless you play the games or read the books, and you're like, oh, all right, cool. That's a Striga. That's good. That makes sense. It was like, what is happening? No. So reading that, playing FIFA and Final Fantasy Record Keeper. Watching, though, you'll appreciate this. Community for the first time, as you guys know.
Yeah.
Finished Ozark Season 3. Goodbye, lawyers. All of you.
Have you gotten to
fantastic.
I don't know how far along this is, but I feel like we've talked about it, so maybe you know. But the part where the trampoline one?
Yes.
Okay. Because when we were talking about it earlier, well, number one, Tom has said multiple times some of us are natural jumpers on the show. So I wasn't sure if you had got that joke or not. But two, there's that hilarious part in the beginning when they're playing basketball. And fucking Donald Glover just goes, you just lost the game. And he does that little like dance. It's like one of the greatest fucking things ever. And every once in a million years, Lauren will just randomly do that with like zero.
That whole episode is incredible. When they finally realize he's racist and they flash back to all the racist things that he said, and then the one where he's
With a fucking swastika on the guy's upper chest.
It's amazing.
Hey, everybody, let's pause for 1 second. Violet wants to say hi to Tom.
Tom?
Yeah, Tom?
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me change my audio
Violet.
input, Tom.
Hi.
Hi, Violet. Hi.
So,
Hi,
Violet.
I love you.
Okay, let's go eat dinner. Okay.
Hi, Violet. Bye, Lauren.
Bye.
Anyway, sorry about that. I don't know. They broke into the house.
Call the police.
So also watching Jeopardy.
Bye! Violet likes to yell bye 30 seconds after it was necessary to do so.
Just to make sure you knew she was leaving.
Yeah, she's just like, the door closes and it's like, you can hear them walking up the stairs and then suddenly it's like, bye! And you're like, all right.
Maybe
tell her to say bye to her grandparents.
This is official. We really left.
Yeah. We tell her to say goodbye to the grandparents like 100 times and she doesn't say a word, and then we roll up the window and drive away and then she's like, bye! And you're like, wait, kid.
Maybe it's not a goodbye to you, but it's her announcing that you're goodbye. Like, you know, bye.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
She just doesn't want it to end. And then when it's like officially over,
not.
then the baby has to be like, all right, goodbye.
Hey, Jono, next time you're in this studio, I've installed a mini fridge, making it much easier for me to get drinks. It's only doing me good right now, but in the future, it will help you.
What do you mean by installed?
Well, I plugged it in, Tom.
Plug in.
And then I shuffled it under a table.
Listen here, you fucking dickhead.
Did you do some sort of carpentry and run a water line to it, or did you just open a box?
Not remotely. Also, it was given to me.
He's actually hooked it up to a sprinkler, which he's got hooked up to a smoke alarm that Joe lights a cigarette. So then start the fucking sprinkler, pour spring water into his whiskey and water.
So in order to save 5 seconds going to get a drink, you created some kind of Rube Goldberg machine.
Yes.
That's exactly
Way
true.
to use a reference from 30, 40, 50 years ago.
That's what it's called. More. Idiots.
Well, no, but the original Rube Goldberg was from decades ago. Which, again,
that's what I'm
Tom
saying.
was alive
I think it was more.
Yeah, Tom is just really old.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, and we're also watching Castle Rock.
What?
Interesting show.
Oh, you know what? I started that once, and then I got bored, and then I started it again, and I got into it, and then I fell asleep, and I never came back to it.
What the hell is Castle Rock?
How was that story? Was that a good one? Was that a good story?
Has it got Muppets involved? And they dance around and stuff?
No, Fraggle Rock is on show. Yeah, that's a Showtime show. Yeah.
No, but a lot of nudity at Fraggle Rock.
Thank you, by the way. You're welcome for picking up on that. Because I've been making the joke like, we should watch Fraggle Rock tonight. And she's like, no.
Falling flat. It fell flat on the show too, so it's all right.
You know they call it Asia.
Don't do it.
That's part. It's not even moving.
That's all I got there.
Fraggle-roo-rah. Fraggle-roo-rah.
Damn it. Fraggle-roo.
Enjoy editing that, you fucking sexist or racist dick.
I'm leaving all that in. I don't know what you're talking about.
Enjoy editing.
I literally just heard Violet yell bye.
How is he the racist dick for editing out your racism?
Yeah, it's almost like I'm the opposite of racist and very sensitive to other people's levels of offensiveness. Are we ready? Spoiler warning?
Yeah, fire it up. 5 chapters.
All right, spoiler warning. This is a reread podcast, and we're going to talk about this book and other books and the whole series as a whole, and whatever the fuck we feel like talking about because we don't care. And there's plenty of other podcasts out there now. If you want to read spoiler-free content, and by read I mean listen to, and by listen I mean view. So this is our episode covering The Eye of the World, written by Robert Jordan, chapters 49 through 53.
No, the glossary too.
God damn it. And the glossary. Chapter 49, The Dark One Stirs.
Cover that. Oh, I guess
Tom, you want to give us an awesome recap for that?
Yeah, the gang fights their way through the blight and arrives at the Eye of the World to meet the Green Man. That's it.
The gang meets the Green Man. Could literally be a title from Sunny and Dale.
I can't believe, it's like, you know, as we grow older, you realize how much Robert Jordan stole from
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And Always Sunny. It's very disappointing. Like, growing up, I read so much Robert Jordan thinking he was the best author. And then I found out, like, he's stealing from J.K. Rowling. He's stealing from, you know, Charlie Day, McElhenney.
It's just J.K. Rowling. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is also a ripoff of Harry Potter.
It makes sense. You know what they drink all the time? Do you know what their butterbeer?
Butterbeer?
Yeah. It's just.
Have you guys ever been to Universal Studios and had actual butterbeer?
No. Is it butter and beer?
No, not at all.
What if I just melted butter and poured it into a beer?
I think there's an alcoholic recipe online if you really wanted to do that. But the butter beer at Universal Studios is just like a drink a kid could get. So it doesn't have any alcohol in it. But it's just so sugary and sweet.
Butterbeer has alcohol.
It feels like
a lady.
It feels like you're drinking like liquid cocaine or something because you're immediately addicted to it the second you have it. Like I was just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever had in my mouth ever.
It honestly wouldn't surprise me
of these.
If they put cocaine into it.
On behalf of me, can I ask, did you actually drink butterbeer or did you do cocaine?
Well, I just did coke. Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I don't think you were drinking butterbeer.
It was just a mug filled with coke.
A cola?
Just drinking dust.
Pretty normal.
We did a recap and it promptly didn't say one word about this fucking book.
Yeah, you did. You just did. You told us the whole chapter.
Oh, okay. You want to move on to the next one?
I wrote Nynaeve is sad face and Lan is hard face.
Yeah, she's still very, very sad.
So
yeah, it's basically the next morning after Nynaeve went to sleep crying.
Is she sad or did she get face fucked?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know. The only reason we know
just some really harsh light sex.
Red rimmed, teary eyes.
God damn.
I like that theory.
Lan's like, in my nation, the man rules the bedroom, the woman rules outside the bedroom.
Yeah.
So it might be a little.
They're literally casting in the 7 towers.
Yeah, it's like he just teaches her a rough fucking lesson of welcome to fucking their politics now.
Yeah, we're my kingdom now for the first
Malk here. There's the 7 towers. There's 100 lakes. Here's my dick.
Do you know what they really were?
Shit.
They look like pearl necklaces. Get some.
God damn. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Right.
So Moraine removes
camp. Oh,
yeah, the traces of her power. Is she like?
Let's back up a moment. Let's back up.
Okay. No, classic, Jono. Go ahead.
They seem like Rand kind of oversleeps a bit in the blight. It's already bright. Is this really like? I'm very concerned by his whole routine here. Like they're in
pre-blight.
Yeah, they're in mid-blight now. They're not above the thing, like above the high passes, but they're pretty into the blight. And he already mentions, like, it may be his last day of life. He's pretty concerned about that. And instead, what do? We get gender politics, sleeps too late. Just good idea, sleeps late. He has a shitty dental hygiene plan. Like, all he does to clean his teeth.
He couldn't have slept that late. Wouldn't they have gotten him up? Like,
the sun is already above the towers. And I know we're in the northern hemisphere, pretty high up. But come on, dude. You're going to die today. Probably.
Well, I mean, the towers are kind of torn down.
It's a very concerning start to a day.
Hey, look at that mask.
My mommy made
the towers are kind of torn down is the greatest reasoning. That he didn't sleep that long. The 7 towers, they're only like 2 stories tall now. It's fine.
Not that
high. So Moraine removes the traces of like her wards. What is she
Rand
doing?
Does not feel. She's worried that like if you remember, and it's an interesting question how she does it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm asking, I guess. Because you can't unravel. She can't unravel the weave. That would be insane. Well, because I guess physically she's capable of doing that. It would be very difficult and take her a million years. And if she took a misstep, it would be horrible. But I guess she could have technically done that.
My suspicion of what she does, which doesn't make it right, is like you said, we know that Avienda and a few others can unravel a weave, so it's no longer even visible.
Yeah,
it dissipates instantly. It's also extraordinarily fucking risky, and it's kind of like putting together potentially a bomb. So probably not what
Does she know how to invert a weave? Would that matter?
No, you have to invert it beforehand.
Does she somehow cover it up with another weave? That wouldn't make any sense.
So my suspicion is what she wants to do is similar to what she did in Shadar Logoth, in that she kind of gets rid of what we did here and by kind of blow the scent. You'll excuse whatever the fuck Tom's got going on there.
Well, he muted.
Girl.
He muted.
Almost kind of undid the weave in a way, because you can undo your wards. But then kind of maybe send them west. So so that they're no longer where they're going to go. So hopefully no one finds the weave, because you can undo your own wards. We know that. But then if you can find them with that little bit of, kind of that feeling, send it west like she did with their sense.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty logical. That makes sense. I like that. I like that explanation.
We might be over.
No, we are, but it's one of those things that was written in that doesn't make sense later on.
Yeah. He just didn't know the power, what he wanted from it at that point.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe he should have overthought.
So the trees want to grab us, Matt says, and then even Egwene are like, Matt, you're an idiot. And he's like, and then Moraine's like, well, some of them do.
Yeah.
Those trees are trying to grab me like some sort of toy version of myself that I could jerk off because I could feel myself. That's what I wrote.
I like that we make notes that are like, here's a fucked up dumb joke that's also weirdly sexual for no reason that no one's going to notice. But you know what? I put it in a fucking little binder that I can't wait for whatever descendant I may have is going to read. Is going to think so much.
I wrote so they ride like crazy because the trees actually do try to grab them and start trying to grab them, which I also say, what the fuck is that going to look like in the show? Or are they going to do that?
So one of the things that I find interesting is like, there's always been this critique of Jordan being very like, like Tolkien-esque and all that. And my thought is, here you go, Treebeard. Good fucking luck. Like now he's just a deranged, fucking drugged up tree trying to kill Matt Cawthon. Like way to take it a long way.
Wait, do you think that's what that is?
No, not at all. It's a fucked up joke.
Oh no, I meant. Do you think the trees and the blight that can actually move are like somehow twisted versions of like what the Green Man is or something?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
I was like, is that what you're saying?
No, I was just making a dumb joke.
You're just making a dumb joke? Okay.
How dare you? They're smart jokes. Who would call it dumb?
I mean, good jokes. Good jokes. In the young adult versions of the Eye of the World, I think they only did the Eye of the World and the Great Hunt. I'm not 100% on that because I stopped looking a long time ago. But they split the books up into 2 volumes.
You're correct.
Remember that?
And oddly enough, Tom and I cannot read those because of certain age restrictions on us.
Yeah, you're not allowed in that area of the bookstore because you're pedophile. Yeah. There's the artwork on those covers is like not Dare Okay Sweet, so it's good. One of them is called Into the Blight because it's the second half of the first book. And the trees are like pulling at Egwene's hair and it looks pretty cool. And I was like, that actually, if they kind of made it look like that, I might actually buy it, I suppose.
Well, I really do like the imagery here is kind of, again, it's always good because it literally always is good with Robert Jordan. But like you kind of got this image of them trying to like go north through, it can't be like too dense of a forest, but like, maybe there's got to be a little bit of a path because people still go north. But like, you can see trees rotting. You can see it's too hot for what the fuck should be happening. But at the same time, the heat is like it's very emotional. Like even as a reader, you kind of like feel the lethargy given to it by like midsummer heat at the wrong time. And like shit's just dripping off in decay. Like it's what I don't get this feeling from is later on when Fail is in the blight. Like I know it's dangerous per se, but they don't go into detail like at all about how dangerous the trees are. Like it's just like they just travel through the blight, and the only time they really have any like real issues is when they make a shitload of noise and like a monster comes up or whatever. I think it's a Lopar or something. I don't remember. Anyway, but then later on, they also have like their only real issue is when they find like the campsite with Dark Friends like sending supplies to the Trolloc armies. And I'm like, that's the only time you really had issues? It doesn't make sense because like I get
I had to read that last book again.
Yeah.
I mean, they really kind of gloss over just normal problems she should be having. Like they should have just been like, and we lost 17 people today. Like that would have been like, oh, okay, I got it. But like they
because every part of the environment is supposed to be deadly.
Yeah, because it's just like everything is fucking. I think they kind of gloss over and say like it's very dangerous here. Like we lost a random guy or something, but that's kind of it. And like I'm just like, wow, there's really no, aside from her being in the blight and her being scared, there's no like actual like fear from the writing itself. Like I'm not scared, the whole time. I'm just like, whatever, she'll find a way back, or Perrin will come get her. Anyway, I don't know. I just feel like he could have amped that scene up a little bit.
I agree, because like one of the things about the blight that's so fucking weird. Is like, all right, the decay is uncomfortable, right? Like,
yeah, because the point is the scene is freaky, and like those scenes are just like, I'm behind enemy lines. Like that's kind of all you get from that, you know.
Like so, like we see this claw bear that Matt shoots in a bit. Like all right, that's fucked up, but whatever. Like
claw bear.
Yeah, but when you get past it, like when our characters get more, violent, capable, and all that shit, claw bear is not scary. Trees aren't scary, but it's the foreboding feeling that the blight comes with, like the idea that things are just dripping rotten, and so presumably it's almost acidic, or it's almost like a viral or bacterial that like if it gets to you, like it can also fuck with you, right? I mean, like because that's the whole thing, is that it kind of permeates. And that's what's really the creepiest part of all that, is that it's not just there's Trollocs. All right, that's a fucking thing that if you avoid, you're fine. It's the fact that all of this that close to Shadar Logoth is evil, is permeated with evil, and just decay. Like that's what's fucked up about it all. So like if you don't have that feeling later on, like when they're on their fucking next trip through of like, it's not really that evil. Because like what, and we'll get to it. One of the things that's fascinated me from book one is the fact that like, all right, we're 50 miles in, not even. We got claw bear, we got moving trees, we got something called a stick. And then
that's all I was thinking about. I just watched The Bug's Life recently.
Oh, a stick!
That's what. That's all I got.
Yeah,
I just watched A Bug's Life recently. Is the greatest. I just watched A Bug's Life. They're horrifying, those sticks.
But like, what happens is like it's all quieted by worms. Which, if you remember, if you read The World of the Time, like that, like what came out between book 7 and 8.
Yeah,
these may or may not be kind of dragons that did not transition like they were supposed to, because
I always thought they were dragons.
Yeah, they just never did. They didn't transition to being able to fly.
But I mean, that's what you call a dragon in all other fantasy, but with a Y instead of an O.
Yeah, that's true. It's wow, way to go! You changed it up.
That's interesting because I never, until I think Tom kind of introduced the idea that they were dragons to me. Like I never really thought of it that way. I guess in my brain I just pictured like, I don't know, big ass Beetlejuice worms or something, or like Dune, like just huge creatures.
Either way, it's either the Dune worms or dragons that just haven't
honestly
ground.
The first time you read that book, or me anyway, like I expected at some point down the line actual dragons.
Yeah, agreed. Especially considering what happens at the end of this shit.
I remember asking you about that like a million years ago, Tom, and being like, well, is there this and that? Because you kind of gave me these books in the sense of like, I know you read Dragonlance, but it's not really like that. It's a little more realistic. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Are there monsters? And you're like, there is a type of monster, and that's kind of it. And I was like, really? And I was like, kind of like shocked at that, I suppose. Or just like, really? Only one type of monster? All right, I guess.
Well, I mean, Tom's right. These are more realistic. I mean, this actually happened.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But
as the books went on, there was many, many other types of monsters. The Shan-Chan have monsters, so to speak, and like Ogier are a thing, and Fades and Trollocs, and which Trollocs is obviously what he was referring to when he's like, there's one type of monster. There's not like orcs and elves. His main point was like, it's just people, and then there's a monster, like kind of thing. And I was like, okay. Because I was used to like dwarves and halflings and elves and humans and that kind of, and dragons and all that kind
different
of
races.
Yeah.
And Ogier. That's not right. What's always fascinated me about these chapters, and one of the things that I hate to say I was never like, I love the Sanderson books. I love that he fucking did this, like no matter what. But I always felt like this is here before we even get to the high passes. What the fuck is the next step, right? Like what they say here is that a Myrddraal could take one worm. A whole worm pack is on us.
I really like the setup of the Eye of the World, or the Green Man is always beyond the mountains. and you're like freaked the fuck out that they're not going to get there.
Yeah,
because
so,
the setup of that is pretty brilliant and subtle, and you're just like, oh fuck, they're never going to get through the goddamn mountains, kind of thing, and then suddenly they're safe.
There's a scarier moment in a few chapters, but I assumed that at least one of them was going to die during this mission.
Yes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I kept thinking, like, what if this is what's below the high passes? What the fuck happens after the high passes? Like, what's up there?
Rand even has that thought when he's like, when they,
I wanted to see it. Is like what I was going for is I always wanted to see it. I always wanted to go. I can't wait to get the plot. I can't wait till we're in the last battle.
Yeah, just
how did Rand get there the first time?
That's true. Like, why weren't there huge, like, like in the end of the Lord of the Rings when suddenly those giant elephant things are there and they're fucking like smashing through and they're like, and you're just like, oh shit, a huge new monster. It's crazy and big. Or like the cave troll is times 10 and he's, like it's gigantic. And like, there was no like amp up in the end of the books. It was just like, there's
people. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but because it's
that's it though. Like that. Like, that's where I'm going at. Like Joe, that's what I'm going at. Like,
why the fuck is there like fucking worms?
Imagine if they'd added more to the last book.
That's the thing. Is like, why not?
I mean, you could have just let that would have made the Aes Sedai look like they were actually doing something if they were like fighting fucking huge ass worms or something, and other shit was happening.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be dragons. It doesn't need to be dragons, but
no, not necessarily.
Something different, something fucking like even the worms transition into, instead of just being worms, maybe they're bigger. Maybe they've got legs. Maybe they can rear up and just fuck with you.
We got one thing different. We got Ghost Town.
Oh, oh.
The dumbest thing that's ever happened in those books.
Also, your whole plan hinged on the Ghost Town map, really? All right, not the whole plan, but a big part of it.
All right, where were we? Let's keep going.
Yeah, they hear the snarling howls behind them. Reedy shrill. Land says it's worms. It's a full pack of them. Then the T-Rex murders a lawyer while he's taking a shit and chases them in the Jeep all the way to the Green Man. That's what I wrote.
That's correct.
Sums it up pretty nicely.
Rand summons the Eye. It is interesting. Like, clearly, Rand's the one who summons him, though. He's kind of got these like almost like he's channeling, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's not until he really like needs and wants it that it appears. Like the rest of them are like freaking out, and Moiraine's like, if our need is the greatest, even though I've been there before, I shouldn't technically be able to go again. Our need is the greatest the world has ever known.
If Rand calls the Eye through need, and the Green Man's place but the Green Man's place can constantly move around as if by magic. Is it somehow in the world of dreams?
We don't know.
Maybe it's like trans-dimensional, sort of in the sense that the Ogier are trans-dimensional.
That would actually make a lot more sense given the way that he travels to the battle later too. Like,
yeah, because he's still kind of in the Green Man's area, isn't he?
Yeah,
I guess is the top of that cliff in the Green Man's area?
Yeah, he is. Tom, I love it. It's a great theory.
That actually makes a lot of sense. If he could just step out on the other side of the Green Man's area and suddenly he's in the battlefield, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, because otherwise the way he gets there makes no sense. Even a lot of this doesn't make sense. I was thinking about it earlier. I was just like, how does this work? Based on what we know, trying to make it fit.
Well,
if they entered Tel'aran'rhiod physically,
I mean,
that would make a little more sense.
Yeah. Tel'aran'rhiod is an interesting.
Well, that, and he also fights Ishmael. Also, presumably, that would have to be in the World of Dreams too.
Yeah, but at that point, he's like skimming, so he's like.
Look, here's the point.
Hold on.
All of it makes sense. I'm a genius.
That's a giant spoiler alert for this.
So anyway, flowers and butterflies, and it's peace and safety. And suddenly there's a man shaped like vines and leaves, and he's wearing boots? What is this Green Man going to look like in the show? He's wearing boots of bark, but still you're just like, why does he look like he's wearing any clothing?
He's going to look exactly like Swamp Thing from the 80s TV show.
I mean, I wouldn't hate that. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. He looks like Swanson.
I love that Green Man here just called out, a few of these people so like awkwardly, just kind of, oh, Wolf Brother, hello, friend. Have we gone so far? And Parent's like
he's like,
no,
has the wheel turned that far? The Wolf Brothers? And he's like, and they're all like, Wolf Brother.
Trying to keep that on the down. Trying to keep that on the down low, bro.
Yeah, thanks,
and
bro.
he's like, oh look, Child of the Dragon.
Keep that quiet.
That's weird.
And even that, like, Rand's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I don't remember. Like, he has no answer. He's like, hold on, I'll tell you. Wait for it. Never mind, I don't remember.
Are we on the next chapter?
No, it starts now, basically.
No, the chapter.
Yeah.
So, and then, like, Moraine, of course, ruins everything. Like, I'm here for my purpose and for your purpose, which, by the way, means your imminent death. And
one of the things he says is he's basically like, well, I'm surprised to see you again, Moraine said, you're not supposed to be able to get here, kind of thing. And she's like, our need is the greatest in all the world.
He's like, God damn it, I'm going to die. So, thanks.
Yeah, what the I guess for twat show thoughts before the next chapter, all I said was those trees twisting to grab them is going to be pretty fucking weird if they do it at all. And then also, I just can't, I wonder what the Green Man's going to look like. It's going to be strange.
Yeah, the trees on TV, like in the book, it sounds terrifying. On TV, it probably look.
It might look a little silly. Yeah, kind of like just like I don't.
So they might.
Maybe they shouldn't even do it, kind of thing.
I would if I was in charge of the TV show, I would reimagine the Blade.
So
I wouldn't have Wayne give a speech to everybody saying like, you better watch out for those sticks.
yeah, that's bad. That's bad. It's not very.
There are creatures here that look like sticks. They're horrifyingly.
What do we call them? Sticks.
Cut that line. It's not scary at all.
Sticks.
I have an idea.
Who was in charge on naming
chase
day?
them to the Green Man. Go.
Look, you just make it. You just make it just like you just make it like the Fire Swamp. Put some ROUSs in there.
Yeah. There you go.
Good to go.
Lightning sand, not quicksand.
So, like, to me, like, the thing that sticks out about the Blight is, like, it's not when they're marching through it, like, but it's, if you remember, like, there's, like, trees trembling, and, like, clearly something walks by, and, like, one tree whips at it and kills it. Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Not the idea that it's attacked by trees, but that, like, the tree is a hunter. Like, that's way more interesting as a theory. Is that like or not as a theory, but as I guess a thing that's going on is that these fucking trees are
it's like
attacking.
a Venus flytrap type thing, and it's like it just lashes out when you come close. Like that's you could pull that off as a show, but
by the way,
if the trees are literally grabbing them like hands and like pulling them in, it's like it's a little silly.
But then what happens afterwards though is a little over the top of like trees are attacking, and for some reason Matt's shooting arrows into. Like, it's a fucking tree. It's got 800 fucking limbs. Like, you're not shooting an arrow at it. Like, that's when it's gone a little too far to me. But, like, the idea that maybe there's a couple trees that are not trees that are, kind of like that, that's more interesting. But I agree. I think, I don't know if it was you or Tom, because I was drinking, that said reimagining is the way to go. At least to a certain
extent. Sure. It was Tom, but yeah, for sure, I agree.
The decay is enough alone. Like the decay and then other shit.
Yeah, just showing like maybe it's more grayscale, like grayed out. Like maybe the color is dull, and like the actual film changes. Like maybe like little changes like that, and then sweltering heat. They're all sweating and they're taking their scarves off, and like. Or just the branches are all black and gray and red, or what? I mean, like who knows? I don't know.
What if it so like virulently red, and like even Trollocs are afraid of like being underneath the decayed limbs because it'll like fucking melt their flesh for the tree to pick off. Like it's like that kind of like just fucking grossness. But just the way it is of like be careful, a dried tree limb is going to try to take you up. It seems a little off.
It seems it's a little strange. Chapter 50.
Meeting.
Chapter 50. I just read the Green Man has Alzheimer's. They find the eye of the world is a well of pure Satan. Agenor and Balthamel show up and beat the shit out of everybody, and Rand runs away.
Bitch.
Yeah. Meetings at the eye is what Jono was trying to say. It's a Rand POV. How weird at this point.
So I don't want to get into it because I don't have a fucking answer. Like the first thing that came to my mind was it's a steading, but it's clearly not, obviously.
No, not really. Yeah.
Although
this is the scariest chapter I've ever read of this book.
Well, hold on. Like it's vintage theory. I'm
100% agree. When the Forsaken show up, it's horrifying.
Like it ran
of any of the books, it's the scariest one.
He had thousands of burning points, like piercing his bones right before he entered, and then it went away. So it's clearly not a steading because Moraine can channel.
Yeah,
but like, all of a sudden, as soon as he enters, like peace kind of comes over him, steading like. Anyway,
well,
so
I imagine it's similar to a steading.
In that it just kind of,
I mean, like as in like a lot of the properties are the same, but I don't think it's like the same as a steading. You know,
I like that idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Well, obviously the Green Men and the Ogier are like very similar beings as well. Like something they obviously have a connection. Well, I mean, just in the sense that they have a connection to nature and like
they can sing and all that. Yeah.
They're connected. They're connected.
They're connected, and they go back to each other very easily.
Remember, the Green Man. The Green Man is a construct of the power.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but maybe it was based on them meeting like Ogier. You know, like maybe it's like Age of Legends. Like, let's make something that's like the Ogier, you know, or something like that kind of thing. Anyway,
if the Ogier are no. To your point, though, the Ogier are not real for this fucking universe or for this world.
Right?
Why not try to improve them?
Why not? Why not try to make something like it or something? I don't know.
Yeah. So they make it to the Eye's entrance, as you can imagine. Brown and Jono. So Sameshta mentions that he says, "quote I've not rested under Avendasora's branches for 2,000 years." That number doesn't make sense at all, unless
why?
He's been there for more than 3,000 years. We know that. The Aiel do have Chora, like Avendasora. They have their. So did he take the entire? Did the Aiel take the entire fucking tree, wheel it out, send it on to the fucking? God damn, what's their city in the middle of the fucking Aiel waste?
Ruidian.
And then wait another 1,000 years and give it to the Carrion.
Well, they didn't give it to the Carrion. They gave him a cutting, like a sapling.
Yeah. So would they have taken his entire fucking tree too?
Who?
How do you do that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if what the Aiel have is it's the real one, right? It's the full-on one. It's not like a cutting of a real thing. It's like
there were many of them.
Yeah, so whole point is like in the original in the Age of Legends, the Chora plant was a kind of like not standard. It was definitely like, you know, you get a few in a town, but it was a very like there's thousands of them. It's not
okay, so maybe he had one in his
during the breaking, and by the time they got to the waste, they had one left.
Oh, okay, got you. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, thank you. I remember that now. I've always been under the impression that the Green Man, although can hold off the blight, has been fighting a slowly receding battle. Fighter of the blight, man.
It's all I can think about every time.
I always imagined that he was fighting a slowly receding battle, and like maybe he had one in it and it was lost at some point. Like his area isn't as large as it once was, is all I'm saying. Like it's been 3,000 years, and although he pushes it back,
he has Alzheimer's.
Yeah, like maybe he had one, and 2,000 years ago, the blight pushed him really hard, and very possibly. Anyway, the Green Man flirts with the girls and gives them flowers.
It's like, you know what else I've bloomed? A lot of women's pussies.
Yeah, no.
How do you get it?
My brain immediately went to like tentacle porn. But with tree.
I was actually thinking, with given the Green Man's powers, he could just touch a girl in the vagina and her pubic hair would just start growing.
Oh, you mean like parents' fur capris?
Yeah, exactly.
So they get to the arch and they briefly discuss the Eye of the World before they go in, and then they discuss the Eye of the World even more. But obviously we can go into detail about that. I think the funny part is when Matt kicks a rock into it. But
so this is, by the way, I don't know if you know this. This is like why Rand is so good at channeling Earth. Dumbest joke ever.
Matt somehow like gave him an extra power. Like,
yeah.
If they just poured some water in and thrown it,
yeah.
Like suddenly he's just like, oh my God, I'm so good at everything.
He like leans in, just farts into the water. You're gonna be
John. I don't know if you remember this, but Tom likes to give us shit for how much we theorized about what the Eye of the World was in episode 4 of tWoTcast.
They literally say exactly what it is.
They do.
They do.
But that's not what we were saying. Anyway, the point is, Tom has this recollection of us like ranting for like 30 minutes and theorizing about what it could be and how dumb we sounded.
You're exaggerating my exaggeration.
I am not. You've given us so much shit. It's been 10 years of you giving us shit for this. Man. And I've never gone back and listened to it to like justify.
I'll never stop.
Here's what happened. It's all of literally 30 seconds. And Jono says he theorizes that it's somehow the essence of the creator, which he is wrong. And that's not the point. The point is he's just like, what if it's this? And I was like, that's an interesting idea. What if it's this? And then we move the fuck on, and that's literally it. And all I said was I thought it was maybe a combination of both the powers, like Sadar and Sadin. Like, not since it was made by both of them, maybe it wasn't just, maybe he was channeling both somehow. Like, you know, kind of like the way
there's actually you can actually raise your hand as a participant.
Yeah, we have viewers. The funny thing is, I was just like kind of dreading getting to this point of the episode because I was like, Tom's not wrong. We probably ranted like idiots. We probably said so many dumb things. No, there's a couple, like a sentence apiece. I raised my crazy person.
So bad.
So one of the things, like, first off, like I remember as Joe had alluded to, I remember getting this part. I guess this morning, and I was like, oh God, I can't imagine what I said. And then I read it, and what's fascinating to me is like, I hope we talked about the fact that literally the seeds for book 9 are right here.
Yeah, we did. We very briefly mentioned that. I think I said something along the lines of maybe since this was made by both the women and the men, that it somehow like gives a clue to how he later on cleansed the taint with
quite
both women and men.
How you clean it, and the only thing is, like, the only thing that they were missing, I think the reason that the 100, which is a dumb number because we should know that the circles are not ever in 100.
So like when Matt kicked the rock into the pool and it got bigger, but then disappeared, when you cleanse the taint, all the dingleberries there,
it's going to come out.
They get bigger at first, but then they're gone.
Yeah, but then they burst.
It's like flushing the toilet.
They get really big and then they just pop.
But and then there's just like a
painful
bubble of air. That's what the bubble of evil is.
There weren't any hemorrhoids on that taint.
But in all seriousness, I think that what happens here is like 100 Aes Sedai cleaned it, purified it, because it literally works. But the fucking taint has nowhere to go except to kill them.
Because they all died in the making of this, so that's probably what it was. Yeah.
But what Rand does in book 9, it says, "Here, I will clean it with,"
and also give the taint somewhere to go. Yeah,
and that makes sense. The taint something to fight. And honestly, in rereading this, and again, you know,
pretty brilliant.
The 15th time is the best time. I think is the saying.
The 17th time is the best time.
But like, if there had been just the slightest allusion to what the fuck he learned in book 1, I think that would have been so goddamn brilliant. Like, and it kind of frustrates me that Jordan never did, or at least never did it retroactively, or Sanderson never did it retroactively, of saying, like, how'd you learn to do that? No, quite literally. I saw some shit in the first book.
Yeah, that would have been cool if it ever.
That would have been a weird thing for him to say.
I did the first book. Like, you're being written upon. Loyal's first,
and then he just points at Loyal's book.
Loyal's, that's what I meant. Loyal's book. I remember it because I reread Loyal's book.
So what's interesting
of my own life
that I am is that it's mentioned that this has the power to break or reseal the Dark One's tomb.
Yeah, we also talked about that briefly. And I basically, I think I said something like, "Oh, that's really cool." Like maybe that's. I just made not a joke, but it was just like, "Hey, isn't it funny that in book 13 he's talking about breaking the seals?" kind of thing. Like I was like, "That's kind of funny." Full circle on that one.
So what doesn't make sense to me is like, I get what the Eye of the World is kind of like a weird combo Sangreal Terangreal. In that it's clean and pure. It allows Rand to grab it. It allows whomever to grab it without. But I don't understand why it is that the Forsaken want it. Because unless there's some reason that they don't yet have a clean, pure source.
Yeah, it's not finite.
Well, I assume they do.
Yeah, it is.
What does he want it to? Because he wants to keep Rand from having it and to destroy him?
I think so, yes.
True, but
like 100%, I think that's what
I get why they would want it, but why the fuck would they like really be worried about it? Other than like, oh, he can use this for about 30 minutes, and then fuck it, he's still an idiot who can't channel.
Or maybe it would last for a while if you didn't use it all right away.
But
maybe.
No.
I mean, you could certainly
it's a good
use
question.
It in pieces, I suppose.
But you just got to hang out in the blight, and if anybody comes near, like, I'm the
really
god
know.
of this square of land.
Do you need to be near?
Never come near me.
Well, you definitely need to be near it to like get it initially, but like, could they then travel somewhere and then still be using it?
Maybe, but
it's very strange because it is a pool of the one power, essentially.
Yeah, I guess what could Agenor have done with it, given time and nobody bothering him? Who knows?
I don't know. I think he was just going to use it to kill Rand and also keeping him from using it, I think was his main
clearly
goal.
There's a value there, and that they start looking younger. They start pumping that white stuff into them and looking younger. Note that, ladies. But like...
it's stem cell. It's a pool of stem cells.
It just comes stem cells. Jordan has some very interesting theories. Yeah, cum stems. It's a very interesting theory on stem cell and what's in his jizz. But
I had the worst joke to make. I'm glad I didn't.
I like how they go in and they're like looking at the pool, and she's basically like, it's a pool of the essence of Sidane, and then she just looks at the boys like, does that mean anything to you guys?
I think that's exactly what it is. Like, it's this milky substance that I want to rub all over myself.
It is a gigantic white pool of male
interested
essence.
In
this? And Rand is just like, maybe me, and she's like, I knew it. Homo. That's homophobic. But I mean,
that's actually what's happening. Is like it's like something where like they're all kind of like freaking out, but if you just kind of look in, they're just like rubbing cum all over themselves and pretending, Ishmael, oh Agenor, no, and they're just rubbing cum all over themselves.
Meanwhile, Rand's like, "Why did you bring us here?"
Rand's just like, I can wield all of the cum.
It's like the fucking paintball episode in Community. It's just shooting it everywhere.
The dragon can't be reborn without a pretty healthy dose of cum.
It's not head cum though. If they put their head in that pool, they would not see memories.
You're right. You're right. This is another Harry Potter ripoff.
It's a pensieve. A bunch of Aes Sedai just jizzed into a pot.
It's a pensieve that contained Luce Theron, and now he's part of Rand. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, just put that cum back into him.
Hey, that's an interesting thought. I like that. No, I mean, like that Luce Theron is somehow connected to it somehow. I don't know. I mean, I know that's ridiculous, and it's not. I'm just saying it's an interesting thought.
He's connected.
Yeah.
They're connected. And they go back to each other very easily.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
I don't know. You're eating that corn chowder like it's your job.
It is my job.
Anyway, Moraine says it's because Rand's like, why'd you bring us here? And by us, he means me. And then Moraine's like, it's because you're Tavern. And that's it. That's the only reason. I don't think one of you is the Dragon Reborn.
I can't believe she didn't just be like, man, seriously?
Yeah. Do you not get it yet?
Like, I'm sure you don't buy that you might be the dragon yet, but you've got to know you can channel.
Do you think at this point she was like, God damn it, when is it going to happen? You know, like she's waiting too. Like she's just like, huh? And then like they're both like, all three of them are just like, all right, well, let's get out of here. And she's like, God damn it.
Then
I'm waiting for one of them to do something with this. That's the whole point of the scariest.
Yeah, and then the scariest, I thought Moraine was dead. I thought Lan was dead. I thought Nynaeve was dead, at least.
So first off, like when they walk up, Belthamol and Aguinar walk up and they're like, well, we followed Matt because of his dagger and old evil.
Yeah.
Which on reread, and I hope I caught it earlier, I don't remember, was like, wait a minute. That dagger is only 2,000 years old. Like, how the fuck would they have ever? They were asleep the entire time.
Dark Prince have been following that dagger all book.
They can sense it. Yeah, they can sense it. It has
why
nothing
would
to.
Aguinar and Belthamol though? Aguinar and Belthamol, because they were. It did not exist when they went to sleep.
That doesn't mean anything. If something didn't exist when Moraine got put in a stasis box, when she popped back out, she'd be like, "That thing's evil. That thing's a shadow spawn."
But they said it's immediately familiar evil.
Well, who knows?
Well, that's the point. God damn it. The whole point is here that don't make sense.
Isn't everything familiar? Isn't everything ultimately familiar since it's a wheel of time?
Not for them. They're on their first redo. Because as opposed, not their first redo, but as opposed to certain things Rand has or Ishmael has.
Yeah.
People realize that they have done this a million fucking times with no remorse. I don't know.
Aguinar kind of says something along those lines, doesn't he? He says something very Ishmael-like in the sense of like, we found you at last, finally. Like doesn't he say something like, we've done this before? Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway. Aguinar, super old, Belthamol in a mask, and he's creepy as fuck.
Mask rapist. He is.
These descriptions are.
Smiley Mask Man is horrifying.
Like, they're fascinating.
How does Belthamol in a full-on leather mask still manage to give everybody "I'm gonna fuck you" eyes?
Like, just the eyes flip. He's like, you can even
he's all
his eyebrows
covered
up. You can
still
see his eyebrows going like, yeah.
They're just like, oh, he wants to put his dick in everything. He's been in jail for a long time.
Even fucking Aguinar says it. He's just like, listen, I don't really care about fucking anymore because I'm like super old. But Aguinar over there, I mean Belthamol over there, he's into it. Like, you're just like, holy shit, what?
Every time he arches his eyebrows, just now. It's like,
and
God
then someone
damn,
remixed that into an awesome song.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then Matt's like, that's impossible. The Forsaken are bound. And then he's like, we were bound, like Ishmael. And I love how he says, like Ishmael, we're not bound anymore. And then later on, when Moraine's talking about it, she's like, it's a good thing none of the other Forsaken are out. Am I right?
Did you not listen?
Right.
He literally just said Ishmael was out.
What's fascinating is like you feel like it's a reread series, but so many things are really literally said. It's not like ISH guy. It's literally just like Ishmael, we've been out. Like,
yeah.
Wonder what that is. And well,
I thought it was really funny in the old episode. Tom said something along the lines of Balthamol's kind of like the most horrifying or kind of like he's like the Darth Vader of the Forsaken kind of. He's the scary one or something. And he's like Robert Jordan killed the scary one right away. I was just like, that's a good point.
I would have been afraid of that guy forever.
That's what I'm saying. If he had stuck around, Jesus Christ, he's way scarier than like half of the other ones.
He's just a mute mask man that's just like licking his lips every time he sees a girl. Just like, fuck
his tongue is
Tom, here's a question for you. Who's scarier? Leather mask man licking his lips or normal looking white guy playing harp?
Oh, obviously white guy playing a harp, way scarier.
Thank you. That's why Asmodean lives.
Yeah.
For a bit.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Obviously.
So Landon sheathes his sword, hesitates over Moraine and Nynaeve, and then Agenor just basically flicks him away. I kind of agree with Tom. I think on a first read, I was like, holy shit, is Lan dead? Like, that was abrupt.
The first time I read the book, I was like, there's no way everyone's making it out of this thing alive.
They shouldn't. In fairness, they really shouldn't. And like at this point, I hope the show picks up literally Dav, the fucking fourth Taviran, to kill him.
I will say that may be the one flaw of the entire, like, everybody just, nobody dying ever throughout the entire thing. Major characters is like just bizarre.
Yeah. Other than Moraine Gandalf, who comes back, White Saruman.
It lowers the stakes. Yeah. I never thought Moraine was dead.
I did. I cried. I remember that.
I didn't think she was.
I thought it was sad, but I never believed she was dead.
Why not? I did. Well, regardless, it's another book.
No, you're dumb.
Talk about that later.
I mean, you're an idiot.
Oh yeah, I know that. You say I'm a Tom? Oh yeah, I'm dumb. I'm sorry. They mean the same thing in my language.
So Nynaeve yells when Lan gets flicked away, and then basically Balthamol grabs her, which that's the part where I was like, she's gonna die. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, I was like, what the fuck is she gonna do to this guy? Nothing.
Guess who enters? Someshta, the Green Man.
Before you get to that, it always sticks out to me in like the weirdest way that Matt yells wisdom before he starts shooting arrows. Or trying to. Also, I love that all the village idiots are ready to start trying to fight too, like they're gonna do anything. the second they attack Nynaeve, they're just like, wait a minute. Like, Lan,
you can't do that to Nynaeve.
They're like, whatever.
I'll throw this stick with a pointy rock on the end of it towards you.
Yeah. I will throw this 100,000-year-old weapon at you, sir.
And Balthamor's just like, I invented joke cars.
There's one note that I actually really liked, and we did not mention it in the last 10 years ago episode. When Rand stands up defiantly against them, like, I really like that. Like, he basically, like, he gets knocked, or he tackles Egwene to the ground, and and then they all start to fight, and they all get fucked up. Well, we're right there. It's now. Well, we're there now. No, that happens after this. He tackles her to the ground, and then, like, basically while he has her on the ground, then that's when Green Man rushes in. But the point being is, I really like
Charlie Day saves the day.
Something along the lines of, like, I know I'm about to die, but I refuse to bow to these fuckers, so I'm going to stand up. And I was like, that's very loose theron of him. Like, I know it's Rand himself as well, but, like, that's a part of him that's like, fuck you, I know who you are, and I will never fucking I'm not sitting on this ground listening to you. What are you doing, Jono? Green Man. So Green Man murders Balthamol into a huge tree that cradles Nynaeve in it.
I'll be honest, I fucking can't wait for, if they do this right, what it looks like.
That's fucking awesome.
It's got to be a fucking 12-foot, 14-foot man coming over, grabbing him, and turning fungus and creepers into this guy's throat as he burns alive and turns.
Is he that big?
Yeah, he's bigger than Loyal. Like, they say that he looks like, if Loyal is like,
yeah,
like that, he's almost like a man talking to a boy with Loyal. So it doesn't have to be like, 50% higher, but maybe 20.
So if they were walking around the streets of Camelin, what would their silhouettes look like from far away?
It wouldn't look good. It would look normal. But like,
it would look like a man on a horse, a man on a pony, and a man on Little Sebastian.
It would look like a man on a horse with a child on a pony, followed by 3 midgets.
followed by a man who's on a horse that is straddling little Sebastian. Nope, that's not right.
On all dogs.
Three midgets on baby donkeys.
Yeah.
So Marine burns Agenor to hold him in place and basically says, "Fly, you fools," and they run away.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
If you were to cut open the Green Man's new tree, would there be 1 ring, 500 rings, or 3,000 plus rings?
I think he preemptively aged it, obviously.
Interesting.
If you were to cut open the Green Man's tree, would Balthamol be inside? Like, would his bones be inside there?
Yeah.
I don't think you can date the Green Man tree.
Well, Rand says, looks like something that had been there for 500 years, which, not nearly enough time. Should be 35 or more. So clearly, Rand's got to go back to the fucking, arboreal school, if that exists.
I think we kind of touched on a little bit of it, but like, what about this chapter, TV show wise, are you interested in? Obviously, the Forsaken, huge note of like, they better fucking nail that.
I this is where that fucking CGI budget needs to come.
Do you think Agenor is just like, is he? I mean, they basically described like he's a fucking zombie, right? Like he looks like a zombie. Like he's not just old; he's like
paper thin, fucked up.
Yeah. He's not just old. He looks like a fucking walking corpse. Like he has patches of hair and his skin is stretched across his skull, and like he's gonna look like a fucking zombie. And I think the point being is that Balthamol theoretically looks even worse, but he's covered up with a mask.
And that's what Rand alludes to is like, wow, if this guy goes without condom.
Yeah. I just hope the show gets the look of the Forsaken right, because that's going to be fun. And also we get to see the eye for the first time in the show.
Yeah, I want to see what that cavern looks like very much.
It's just a swimming pool. There's nothing.
They're gonna shoot it. They're gonna shoot it at the same swimming pool that they turned into the basement in Home Alone.
It's the worst goddamn joke.
What do they see? What is that? A 6-foot marker? No, it's a crystal.
It's crystal.
That's fucking the Eye of the World is going to be an interesting, like, I mean, that's easy enough, but Tom's right, the cave will be more interesting and weird because the cave is as fantastical as the outside. Crystals that glow and like it's as bright as a like afternoon sun kind of thing. Like it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I've never gotten like a good mental picture of it, honestly.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
This is a shitload of salt lamps. This guy's really into salt lamps.
But I mean, like, coming back to it with actual seriousness.
Yeah.
When that rock is kicked down and just kind of slowly expands, but yet becomes transparent, and then just that whole it's both foreboding and yet optimistic. Walking down there, like you start getting hopeful, and like holy shit, cue some like weird ass Arthur music, like walking down to see the eye. And at the same time, like it's just kind of how they do that whole piece of going from the blight into it instantly is going to really be kind of the crux almost of like, how do you do magic? Like, not that is magic, but the change in scenery is so important. The change in, desperation to optimism is like really what the key of the whole end of the book is.
Do you think that photo from the show of Rand standing on that cliffside is this scene at the end?
I hope not. I don't think so. It doesn't make sense.
Really?
For it.
Why?
I don't know. To me, it doesn't quite. It doesn't seem like
it's not bright enough. But I guess I could add.
Well, who knows when they took the picture? I mean, they might have been filming all day.
No, but I mean, Tom's point is the fact that that's still, regardless of what the fuck happens, that's still the Green Man's land.
Yeah, it should look way more lush and
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like lushness and adding like fantastical plants with butterflies everywhere is easy to add. They have to film it somewhere. That's not going to be realistic.
Wrong.
They could film it at the botanical gardens, Joe.
Yeah.
All right. So
chapter 51. Yeah.
51. Rand takes the eye from Agenor and burns him up, wins the battle at Tarwin's Gap, has a conversation with the Dark One, cuts Shamiel off from the Dark One.
So I said this in 10 years ago, and we were kind of like talking about what we thought happened there with Agenor. I'm amazed I had this thought 10 years ago, honestly, because I thought it was kind of like me having that thought now would make sense, but I didn't realize. But like, do you think he was pulling the power through Agenor and burned him out? Or do you think Agenor burned himself out? Because I thought it was like he was pulling it through him and just burst into flame. Like
maybe if you're holding that much and someone rips it away from you, you just fucking turn into ashes.
Yeah, that's a good fucking point too. Yeah, that could be it.
So I
mean, we're bumping up against the idea that this magic system wasn't fully formed again when,
of course, yeah,
he's writing the end of this book.
100%.
What I'm fascinated by this is, first off, cinematically, it's just two dudes staring at each other and sweating. Can't wait to see it. But
they might show parts of this. It's pretty visible to Rand.
They'll show the chords.
Yeah, but
I don't know if I want to see chords.
Yeah, but seriously though, Joe, what is happening? Like that's why I keep asking this. It's like what happens here is
clearly Agenor. I mean, I know we're jumping ahead, but clearly Agenor is holding the Eye of the World, and then Rand embraces Saidin, and then he basically starts leeching the Eye of the World off of Agenor, and then they're fighting for it. And then essentially Agenor bursts into flame and Rand travels away in like 2 seconds. I mean, so like it's all very fast.
Yeah.
Why did Agenor need the eye?
We talked about that earlier. Who the fuck knows? Maybe he was just using it up to get away from Rand.
I mean, it's very ambiguous and it's hectic and like it reads really well. But like, if you want to take all the rules we know really from 12 books later and go back and try to apply it to this, it's just not going to work.
Exactly. I think this actually holds up pretty well. It's the traveling part.
The traveling part doesn't bother me at all, really.
That doesn't really bother me that much either.
No, it threw me off a little bit just
because I'm just maybe he made a gateway and we're not seeing it. And he's not even conscious of what he did and he stumbles through it. That's not even that weird.
The part that throws me off is this casual conversation with the Dark One.
We'll get to that. But like to me, what bothers me the most is the eye being used by other people. The eye exists for Rand to have it's almost like a weird, I think it's just
it's a well of the power.
But but it's not just a well. It's almost like if you remember,
someone had a foretelling that it needed to be there and they needed to put those objects in it. And
yes,
other than that, like, I don't think it was like super destiny or anything, but
I mean, it definitely is super destiny. The Totem Cow are a combination of Sangreal and Terangreal. Not that that's what the eye is, but to a certain extent it functions that way. Rand is able to channel far more than he ever has, so Sangreal, but safely, kind of like a Terangreal with a Choden Cow, and like without concern on, just randomly.
Choden Cow is what landed in an Abe right when they got to the Blade.
Goddamn right it is. That's why she's got those fucking red eyes.
That's what angry blight sex is called. I know we're in the pre-blight, but
he's got some
angry blight sex. All right, let's show you the Choden Cow. Rand runs frantically uphill. He knows Agenor wants him specifically. He reaches the cliffside. Glowing, pulsing ropes. That's what I wrote. Agenor combusts, but that's what we're kind of talking about. I just wanted to get us up to speed here.
Yeah, we're not gonna. Let's get to Tarwin's Gap.
No, real quickly though. Clearly, Agenor starts changing in age. Do you think that Rand is also getting younger? Is this like a weird Benjamin Button scenario?
Well, it's just like the ageless Aes Sedai thing. Maybe that much Satan like makes Agenor a little younger.
It was a joke. He's clearly just getting stronger and back in.
No, if you drink the semen of young men, you become younger.
That's a thing. I've heard that.
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
Just
what the fuck? What show has a blood boy in it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. I don't.
It's like some show or movie where like some rich guy has a young man's blood like injected into him, and they call them blood boys. I don't remember. Is it Arrested Development? I want to say maybe not. I don't think so. It's something weird. Anyway, moving on.
That's a weird thing in a lot of fiction.
He's a blood boy.
Yes, let's go to Tarwin's Gap.
Yeah, travels to the battle. Huge armies. This is going to be fucking crazy in the show. There's fades by the hundreds.
Yeah, this is a
Drakkar, thousands of Trollocs, a huge amount of Schneerians. Like, unless this is just from Rand's perspective and you see smoke and barely make out that there's tons of armies around, like it's gonna be crazy amounts of money.
Is it Silicon, by the way?
Huh?
With Blood Boy?
Yes. Silicon Valley, yeah. That's what it is.
I've never seen it. I just Googled Blood Boy TV show.
It's Silicon Valley. That's what it is.
So he just walks into the middle of both armies, but like glowing too brightly for anyone to recognize him, I assume.
Yeah, that's correct.
I think, yeah. But why is he glowing? Because see the power
for him.
Because it's so much
cum.
It's pure. Actually, it's
just glowing, pulsing ropes.
It is pure Satan, which no one has seen for generations.
Yeah, no one throws ropes like that.
I can't wait for this. It's going to be fucking awesome. I mean, when he like strikes down the Drakkar with like bolts of lightning and shit, and then he's just like beating at the ground, and then basically causes a fucking earthquake and kills thousands more. You're just like, holy fuck, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, he kind of hits like everything. Like, first off, throws lightning, then he throws fire, then he beats the ground for earth. Like while he's at it, he might as well just urinate fucking water at him too. Like, because like he's throwing fucking everything.
To urinate water?
Well, he's been hydrating pretty well.
You urinate urine.
He's urinating pure Sidon.
That would have been incredible. That would have been incredible.
What kidneys are these?
Rand just appears in the fucking valley and has like a huge heart on and just starts shooting Drakkar to the sky with his fucking lightning dick.
I've been so busy running for the last 3 months, I haven't jerked off once.
I tried to jerk off the way, but Matt kept staring at me.
Oh my god!
Matt keeps following his dagger and looking at me.
I know. Every time I try to jerk off, Matt's just holding a knife and staring at me.
He's very suspicious.
And I wrote Dark One or voicemail from Luce Theron. Then he skims to Ishmael.
So I actually sent a email to our friend Alan Romanchuk about this, and he hasn't responded. So I looked up these quotations about all caps locks, and apparently Sanderson said that the same person who has been doing all caps is the same person the entire time, which means that it's the Dark One, unless he's being very weirdly inexact.
Yeah, because you could be very confused into thinking that that's the creator. Even.
And so even 10 years ago, we were all on the same page of there's no way it's the fucking creator, because Robert Jordan basically said many times, and also in the books, that like the creator never takes an active hand in like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it is. I just think when you read it, you're just like,
for sure, 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like on book one, you say it's not here. Like, all right, who the fuck is talking to Rand? Like, he's Dark One. Why is it talking to Rand?
I guess go ahead, Tom. Well, the Dark One's not free yet. If he was free to take a hand, I don't think he'd be like, not here.
Well, he's not ready yet. I don't know, man. We see in book 14 with their weird pseudo battle that's just like mental, and they're basically just yelling at each other the whole time, showing them different scenarios of what would happen if they won or he won. It's not that out of character.
It is a crazy weird part, I think.
And also, but if you look at it, like read it again. So, like it's not here. I'll take no part. Only the chosen one can do what must be done, if you will. Technically, like, so we're all assuming chosen one, obviously, you're a god guy. Who calls people the chosen? Well, the dark one, actually, a couple, like 5 books later, that's what they're called. Yeah. Hello.
Oh, he's back.
So, like, maybe
we don't have enough conversations about the fact that Shamil's basically he's around all the time too.
Yeah.
Does that guy get reborn all the time?
I think the answer is
or is
yes.
it just this cycle?
No, the answer's got to be yes, because like he's the one who knows about it, who thinks about it.
I think everyone gets reborn. It's just that he's aware of it, whereas most people aren't aware of it. And he's aware of it because of his closeness with the Dark One, I think. Just like Rand.
Philosophical desires, yeah.
Yeah.
At what point does the Dark One just be like, you're not the chosen one. You lose all the time.
You're over a lot.
Like it never stops. It's exhausting.
But at the same time, the Dark One says...
I think the Dark One uses him as a pawn every single time to get Rand to a certain point.
Or does he win constantly? Like every cycle they shut down another dimension. And then there's like, hey, there's nothing here but...
That's all it is.
There's nothing here but Grom and Contrails.
I mean, yeah, that's very possible.
That's a real fucking world. So,
I mean, very possible.
They just keep striking down one after the other.
It is a legitimate question, though, of like what this is. It seems when you first read, you think it's the creator, and then after you know more, you're like, it's the Dark One. So I hopefully Alan will respond probably tomorrow or the next day, and we'll just do it on the next episode. But it's a legitimate question I've got, and I think that it is the Dark One personally. But
I mean,
I'm sure it is.
I'm 95% it's the Dark One. I was just kind of joking that it's a voicemail from Luce Theron saved in the Eye of the World somehow to be like, you're needed and this is when and not now, kind of thing or something. I mean, like I was kind of kidding, but like it's one of those things where it's just like it's the Dark One. I mean, even Brandon Sanderson was like, "There's only one caps lock character, guys."
When Rand is like, "Let's fight Beelzebub,"
he might as well have just said it's the
voice
Dark
command.
One.
Voice command. It's Chevy Chase.
Voice command.
So anyway, it's time for some bad channeling. He uses, instead of traveling, he goes with skimming because clearly
he just doesn't know what he's doing. But okay, but he's also entering the Dream Shard where he's been before, though. So it's like it's very weird. He might not even be skimming. He might just be opening his way into Tel'aran'rhiod.
Traveling throughout Tel'aran'rhiod.
Yeah.
Like I said it earlier.
So the door bursts open. He goes, "I'm not running anymore." And then Ishmael's like, "It doesn't matter. You'll grovel to me anyway." And he's like, "I pull the strings."
It actually does.
The door bursts open and he anymore.
I pull the strings. Jane Farstrider, the Maryland seat. And you're just like, Jane Farstrider? What the fuck does he have to do with anything?
One of the things that's amazing about
I feel like Rand would be like, Jane Farstrider? That book I read?
He was like the most evil guy in the world. Was like, I controlled a guy that walked a lot.
Yeah. You know that guy that travels the world? Johnny Appleseed? He's mine!
I was going to say, could you imagine if you fucking saw Satan in person? He's like, I controlled Johnny Appleseed. He's like, congratulations.
Yeah. And?
I guess you did. You did it.
What else you got, old man?
Remember
Have
Paul
you seen my scary
Bunyan? He wasn't a real guy. But I'm the one that made up his legend.
Oh, man.
There was no blue ox, you dumbass.
So Ishmael shows him Egwene and Nynaeve and his mother, and Egwene and Nynaeve are very quickly dismissed because Rand's like, that's not real. And he's like, yeah, you're right, they're not. But the mom
He's like, I saw them 5 seconds ago.
Oh, you guessed it.
How'd you see through my lie?
Literally just saw them. Like, it's not that difficult, dude. One of the things I do love about this is that, honestly, so much of the real plot is given in bits and pieces. Like, Jane Farstrider was this. Okay, so now you know Jane Farstrider is the person who ended up at the fucking Ogiers. Like, that comes into play way later. Like, there's a lot of...
That is true. And if you're really putting the dots together with, like, the Perrin story from earlier, and, like, it was Perrin that had that story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, like, you know, like, if you're putting those dots together, you're like, wait a second, you know, kind of thing. Like, it makes it more interesting. But I definitely on a first read, I did not connect those dots. You know, like, that was not something I put together.
So, anyway, so this Myrddraal rape stuff, and then the Dark One, which by the way, normal Dark One weapon. Rape.
So, 10 years ago, I was convinced that that was his actual mom. Because she's dead, and the Dark One has dominion over the dead. And Johnny, you mentioned something about her eye color being wrong in this scene and or another scene or something like that. So, like, I don't... But I was like, I'm not so convinced that it was his real mom, I suppose. I was just like, the possibility that it's his real mom is there.
So, definitely what happened is, like, I had an early copy, or I don't know what that accent was. I had an early copy of Eye of the World that had her eyes the wrong color.
Really?
Yeah. Like, they changed, and I forget if it was in the latter part where she was tortured or the early part where Rand describes her, but they didn't actually marry up.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah,
so your thoughts from 10 years ago are based on a misprint in a book?
In fairness, yeah. So
that's crazy.
That sounds like a lot of what I would do.
So anyway, I just thought it was funny that I was just like, I'm pretty sure it's his real mom. And you guys were like, man. I was like, it's possible.
I honestly never know.
Yeah, I'm not saying we know or we don't know. I think it was just I guess what I'm saying is when Rand, like, basically balefires her, essentially, and then
bitch,
it's sort of what she basically says, thank you. And I'm like, why would Ishmael be like, here's your mom, I'm torturing her, and then he kills his own mother, and then Ishmael makes the image of his mom say thank you? Like,
maybe
it seems strange.
Ishmael loves mothers. I think we all know.
He also loves an elaborate story.
Yeah,
he likes to make an elaborate story. That's what I'm saying. It makes me feel like it was actually her, just based on, like, what happened in the scene. Like, why would Ishmael fake that? It seems so strange to fake that.
To give him a false confidence, so he would get the confidence to kill him. God damn it, that's not.
Well, why would? Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, he cuts Ishmael's cord. He burns him with a shitload of flames shooting out of a sword. It's crazy. Fire fills the room, and then he falls through blackness.
One of the things that I don't think we realized at the time was how much ahead of the curve Robert Jordan was about cord cutting. Like, I mean, like, this whole thing is a very meta, like, you know, like, you don't have to have cable. You can have an alternate. You can have Netflix. You can have Hulu. Like, Jordan definitely understood, like, you don't...
Today's predicament with television and entertainment is what you're saying.
Yeah, you don't need this cable contract. And, like, it's...
Why pay for 100 channels when you only watch one? It's called Netflix.
Yeah. It's a very important book for its time, like, beyond what people understand.
TV show thoughts?
Well, depends what channel you're going to watch it on before that goes anywhere.
I just said, holy shit, assuming we see some of, if not all of book 2 in this season, which even the more we get into this book, the more I go, how the fuck are they going to do that? That being said, I can't see the end of this book being a mid-season episode. It's so strange. It's so climactic and awesome. Like, why would you... Then again, maybe it makes it stronger as a mid-season thing, and then...
Yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible mid-season finale.
No, not at all. It's an amazing mid-season finale. But when you only have 8 episodes, it seems like you're forcing it into a period of time, as opposed to just letting it breathe.
Do that? Does Amazon do like we put out 5 in a row out of 10, or do they do all 10? Legitimate
Amazon puts out everything.
Yeah, they do. But then I've actually seen a few things recently where a lot of Wheel of Time fans on Twitter of Time have been saying, like, everyone wants weekly so it can build like social like understanding and like hype kind of thing.
Yeah,
that'll probably change their business model then.
It won't. However,
yeah, I know.
Apparently, they leave it up. Amazon leaves it up to the showrunners. So apparently, a lot of the showrunners are like, no, let's do it this way, kind of thing. So apparently, Rafe Judkins has a huge say in whether or not it will be weekly or not, or drop all at once, which is kind of crazy. So I mean, like, if that's true, maybe it will be weekly.
But I mean, not that I know shit about TV, because I don't, but I watch a lot. Thanks, Wayne's World. How many episodes do you think this would be? Like, if seasons 1 and 2 are, like, or books 1 and 2 are one season, like, this can't be 5 episodes in. Like, this seems way too early. The finale of this.
No, I mean, we did the first book the first time around 4 episodes, so they can probably do it.
It's true.
Yeah, take us to go after.
They were 2-hour episodes.
Season 1.
I don't know. I think it's possible to do the first book in like 5 or 6 episodes, but it seems really difficult to chop it down into 4.
You could do it.
But it might be that thing. Like, it might be like, I don't know what the fuck you do there. It's very weird.
Just do a lot of musical montages. like a lot.
What if we started watching the Wheel of Time show and it's just like a fucking Disney movie and Rand just starts singing about the ways, and then suddenly they're in Feldara and you're like, what the fuck? 5 minutes of
I can show you the ways. Take you wonder by city.
Watch out, we might die from this place. It's fucking evil as hell. Yeah, this is crazy. Anyway, chapter 52.
52.
There is neither beginning nor end. It's a Rand perspective.
This is a shit way to wake up. He's just clothed in Agonor's.
Jono.
Oh,
Tom's doing his recap.
That's got a knave and a Guindo Rand can channel now. Rand thinks he killed the Dark One. That's exhausting for at least a book and a half.
Oh, yeah.
And they find out what was inside the outer world.
Okay.
So
now you can talk.
Rand comes to in the middle of a smelly, charred, fucking forsaken body.
Yeah, I wrote Rand jerks erect, but that's fine too. But also, I wrote, he slept in Agonor's ashes? What the fuck? Why have we never talked about that?
That is the weirdest thing. Like, there's no
it's so fucked up.
Especially considering that, like, the last we saw them,
they were rolling around having a fever dream in someone's ashes.
It's also weird that it's constantly described as greasy ashes.
Yes, that's what makes it gross.
I guess that guy hasn't had a shower in like 3,000 years.
Here's a question for you, Tom.
It's so fucking dark and weird.
Tom, because your wife is of African American descent, is Rand in blackface when he comes down to see everyone?
Maybe accidentally. Depends on how much he moves while he sleeps.
Jono, he's not in blackface. That's ridiculous. But what he does have is an ash beard, like a little kid would have as a hobo Halloween costume. Or a pirate. I'm
just imagining blackface Rand coming down. I killed Shaitan.
Everyone looks horrified. He's like, they know I can channel. And they're just like, no, you're racist.
It makes it so much worse that the characters have been cast as not white people for the most part. Like, the guy playing parent is just like, oh god, that's a bad taste, Rand. holy shit, what's wrong with you?
Just keeps
you're not one of us, and you never have been. It's okay. You don't have to try so hard.
All right, I can channel. What? We just thought you were racist. You can channel.
Yeah, I didn't. Is that what you took away from this?
Yeah, this was. Yeah.
Oh,
so the Heron Mark sword brings his memories back. He says Shia 10 is dead. Dummy, I wrote, as John just said. Which he comes down to find Egwene and Nynaeve and Moraine laying on the ground.
Shouldn't the Shaitan is dead, giant, massive, fucking like get hungover feeling be like maybe he's not?
By the way, my next note is Moraine looks hard used because that's the words in the book. But the point is, 10 years ago,
wait. So the Green Man didn't kill Balthamel.
That's kind of what I'm saying. 10 years ago, Jono said something along the lines of, Moraine, the way she's screaming and the way they were acting makes it seem like she was getting raped as Rand ran away.
It's a great question. I still have it.
It's kind of like, I don't think she was. But that being said, with the power, maybe. They do all kinds of torturous, fucked up shit with the one power, like Semirage and shit later on. Like, yeah, they're fucked up, man. They do some fucked up shit. There's a very good possibility that Agenor was like, how about this? And just like fucking zapped her with something that was like horrifyingly bad.
This is the first time we've encountered someone that can use the power in this book to create an air dildo.
Apparently. Maybe she was screaming in pleasure. We just didn't know.
I mean, he is standing on air when she burns the ground, or when she rips the earth away from him and shoots him with fire. Like, he's standing on air. He's just standing in the middle of nothing.
That's why she tells everyone to run away.
So he's clearly good with air.
Because she's fucking into it.
Run away.
She's like,
no.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't want him using his air dildo on anyone else but me and my ass and my pussy.
I really like how Moraine kind of mentions Agenor was close behind Ishmael and Luce Theron in terms of like the power, which is fucking mind-blowing that Rand killed him at this point in the series.
Well, he killed him with the greatest well of power that's ever been known to man.
True, and he also killed him by, theoretically on my end, ripping it through him, essentially, I think. Either that or Agenor just pulled it into himself and burned himself out.
It doesn't make sense because, on one hand, it's been 3,000 years. They haven't really guessed what he's supposed to be doing. But he's been 3,000 years sleeping. It's
man.
By the way, is that not why Agenor would want to use it? Because it's like added power.
Why is it added power?
Isn't it? That's what I'm asking. Isn't it?
No, it shouldn't be.
Knowledgeable or not, Agenor's about to fight the Dragon Reborn, so I'll take the power.
I mean, he knows he's the Dragon Reborn. He blatantly says it.
Yeah, he does.
So, I mean, maybe it's that. I don't know. I just like how Moraine was like, yeah, he was close behind Ishmael and Luce Theron, and I'm surprised I held him off for even a minute. I'm pretty proud of myself. That kind of thing. You're just like, God damn, She basically was like, to Tom's note earlier, so many more people should have died in this fight.
That's
fucking mind blown that she was able to do anything.
And I get that they probably don't want to kill them. That's pretty much the example of hey, these are severe. We don't want to kill them. But at the same time, Egwene's not Taviran, Nynaeve's not Taviran, Moraine's not Taviran. Moraine's not that strong in the power. She's a very strong Aes Sedai.
They should have given us a throwaway character to go at the end of the book, like Billy.
I was joking about. It was we should have had that fourth fucking Taviran to just get fucking massacred.
Not in Taviran, because you can't kill it. Oh man, remember our friend Billy that came with us, even though we told him not to, and it was dangerous, and then he died.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if Dav as a fourth Taviran, or even if he didn't exist, say Matt actually went to the Dark One. If one of the three had actually been tainted and changed sides, that would have been really cool. Maybe not a death of the main characters, but maybe one that was actually I picked up this fucking dagger from Shadow Logoth, I'm fucked up, I'm now evil. That'd be kind of fucking crazy. But I guess that's sort of what Patton Fane becomes, sort of a dark side Taviran kind of thing.
No, but I Tom and I think you too, Joe. I love the idea that there's something needs to fucking die, and that's
there needs to be stakes.
who dies? Tom Maryland, spoiler, he doesn't. I'll see you in the next book.
I don't even necessarily think he's dead, especially like once Moraine's like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, literally, no one thinks he's dead other than Rand's dumbass. And we literally see the next book that's released same goddamn year, I think. So like, no one thinks it's like Tom Maryland's dead. And because of the time he's only been there for like 200 pages, it's not the same character to lose. Like
if somebody dies in this finale, then it raises the stakes for the rest of the books, even if nobody dies and none of the main characters die in the rest of the books.
Yeah, let's go back in time and have him rewrite this.
Oh, we can't.
Oh.
Well, finish this up then.
We can't yet, Tom. The Dark One's dead. I killed him. Oh, with oh, fuck.
I'm going to name him at least 10 more times.
So he blatantly tells them what happened. He resisted, and then Moraine was like, "Well, I could tell it was you because you resisted my bond." But I assume Matt and Perrin did as well, right? And then she talks about the Bella clue.
No, they did.
He's like, "You can teach me," and she's like, "I can't teach you, you idiot."
Maeve and Egwene are acting like he's already dead.
Yeah,
this is weird.
At first, at least, they react harshly at first, but then they very quickly are kind of like, "Well, all right, I'm sorry."
So, obviously, Rand is in that the Dark One is not dead, right? Just spoiler: Shaitan's not dead, but at the same time,
Jono.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I can't believe you just said that.
I say it, but like at the same time, like. It's obvious that he's extraordinarily important, and he's, maybe more. Spoiler, he is. Like they look at him like I get that this is thousands of years of ingrained history to look askance at any man who can channel, but at the same time, they already know this. Like that's the thing is like that apparently like Moraine kind of gave them like a preamble that something's going on with Rand and that he'll be back and he's fighting these people. Like, why it is they seem so fucking nervous about this, I don't understand. Like, why they like, you're so dangerous. Like, Nynaeve even says, like Egwene's just like, we still love you. Nynaeve even says, you're so dangerous.
And Nynaeve does like the bad boys.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. I think it's kind of along the lines of what you were just saying. It's the social stigma. Like, they can't get past it. Like, even though part of them is like, accepting of him because they know him and they're not being like, you're the devil. But at the same time, they're going, Jesus Christ, this is horrifying. You can actually channel. Like,
it's also,
it's one thing to face it in reality.
Yeah, it's denial. It's what Rand's been doing the entire book. Rand knew right from the start, the same way that we did when we were reading it. Like, he was just like, oh shit, it's me. But the whole time
we've been saying that for episodes, and you keep bitching at us that it's not true. Anyway, the boys are inside the fucking archway, and he worries about how they'll react. God damn, Tom was a win.
One more question.
Huh?
One more question for you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Like you said, the men arrive, and they talk about, like, where'd you go? What happened here? Who killed Agador? They accept anything. Like, Rand's just like, I don't know, I ran into a tree and fell over. All right.
Yeah, he lies to them and they buy it. And he's like, he must have died. I found his ashes and his burnt cloak. Like, that's evidence?
Should have been like, the Green Man? I also ran into a fireman.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Honestly, these guys, fuck me more. Like, at this point, like, now I'm like, Moraine should just lie and say, oh, I burned him too. What the fuck is wrong with you? This is a horrible one.
Everybody knows except for Matt, who's been sick, and Perrin, who we all know thinks slowly.
And loyal.
Like, if they would have camped out there for like
that's true.
3 months, eventually Perrin would have puzzled it together and been like, wait a minute.
Like on the third month morning, he would have woken up and been like, wait just a minute.
I ran into your hand.
Moraine wouldn't let us go looking for you for a reason. Now, give me another 3 months and I'll figure out that was.
I'm gonna work this out eventually. It's like a blacksmith's puzzle.
Do you think back in the Two Rivers, everyone has like the Rubik's Cube equivalent of a, and they're all like, "Hey, thanks, Master." What the fuck is the blacksmith's name? Anyway, Luhan. Thanks, Master Luhan. And then they just solve it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, parent, we don't know how to do this yet. Keep trying, keep going."
He reminds me weirdly of like, did you guys see? Is it Game Night or whatever?
Yeah. I saw it, but I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
I haven't seen the movie in forever, but like the blonde guy who's the cop who like orchestrates the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of looks like a dumbass.
That guy is spectacular. He was in Fargo, Tom, in one of the seasons. He's like
all right.
Blonde. Blonde. I don't even know how to describe him. A little pudgy, blonde.
Anyway. Young Ted Danson.
Yeah, he owns a bar. He's super tall. Puts his knee up weirdly high behind the bar. I like how Rand's like, "Won't you gentle me?" And she's like, "No, because you're Taviran."
And also because it's against the law.
Not because you're the Dragon Reborn. Because you're Taviran.
She's got to let him accept the fact that he can just channel first before she's like, also.
I know. I just find it adorable that she's just like isn't telling him what's going on.
I'm with you, Joe. And this is kind of like, at this point, like, it's like, you're going to gentle me? You're going to fuck me? I don't want to have anything to do with this, but please don't.
Yeah, by not giving him information right now, she's essentially driving him further away. And she proceeds to do this for the next, like, 4 fucking books.
I think she's letting him believe it on his own, though. Because, like, the second they walk out with all that
and that
shit,
is a way of doing it.
And here's the banner of the dragon. And he's just like,
yeah,
man, it's weird that showed up and I can also channel. That's cool.
So deeply uncomfortable for me.
It's like very obvious to everybody except for Rand.
It doesn't matter. I killed Chi-Town. It's all over. Shut up, you idiot.
Yeah, I get nauseous every time I say that because he's dead. Right?
All right, let's wrap this up. Moraine does a puzzle with the seals on the ground, and then they bring out the horn and the banner, and they rest and leave.
So let me tell you this. I found out today that for whatever reason, and I don't know the right term. I'll drinking, which, by the way, I've been drinking. Like a tear in my eye, like how fucking cool it is. Like when Loyal reads the Graves.
Do you get chills, Jono?
I get chills on my ear.
Do you get chills from the Horn of Valir like 10 years ago?
Did I do that 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yes.
Multiple times.
I do get pumped up. I get pumped up when they show the Agamor. He's like, what the fuck?
I get pumped up for that. And honestly, when they show, I wish that they did more with fucking banner. Like they showed the original fucking banner of the dragon. Like, and they're like, what is this? Like it's not really sewn. It's not like what is it? And she goes, that's Luz Theron's banner. And they're all like, holy fuck.
and Land just
get that the fuck away from it.
He's like, it looks just like a worm.
All he does is just kind of like, you take away those claws, it looks like a worm.
Hey, that's weird. It seems like that's very similar to a pack of worms. I mean, it's probably larger.
Yeah, it's a little bit. No, but like
what we don't know is that there's a small human sewn into that flag banner, so you can see the scale.
Jesus, they're huge.
It's much larger than a worm would be.
But I fucking love it. Like it's spine tingling, like fucking awesome. Like, here you go, dude. Here's your fucking destiny. Like, Matt, what you don't know is that's and right there, Rand, is your banner that you will conquer this fucking world under.
And Rand, I mean, Parent, I guess you can just, grow a red rocket.
Enjoy your pottery.
The ending is incredible. It's like everything we were promised, like from the beginning of the book. I'm like, oh, here we go. And just pulling that stuff out, it's like, man.
Yeah.
Although I guess
this book does a really good job. I mean, one of the things we said in the old podcast was essentially like, if you read the end of this book and you don't immediately want to buy the next book, you're an asshole. And I still agree with that sentiment. I mean, we summed it up pretty well 10 years ago. Like, that's fucking accurate. Like, how do you get to the end of this book and go like, I don't really want to keep reading. It was really long. Like, fuck off. This is amazing.
I didn't like the Tolkien references at the beginning.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. In the grand scheme of things, like in terms of like translating this to a show, you have this thought process of like, that's going to seem so like such a ripoff of Lord of the Rings these days. Like, people want to understand the context of like why he did that, and it was like an homage, and then he quickly broke that mold and like went in a different direction. They're just going to see the fact that it looks so similar or feels so similar.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not so much now, but like back when they were like discussing Game of Thrones, I was like, why don't they make fucking time? You know, and that like that same feeling is going to come across.
What I love is I found out probably 2 years ago that Terry Brooks was asked for his first book, like Sword of Shannara. He was asked by his publisher to be more Lord of the Rings. Like, they literally said, like, "Hey, that's great."
You said that before. I don't know how much detail you went into.
Like they told him, like, "Hey, could you be more like Lord of the Rings? Could you be like more Tolkien?" He said that was the late 70s. So I imagine that same aura prevailed, you know, a dozen years later in the late 80s, early 90s, when Jordan was like writing his stuff, and it was just kind of like, all right, well, not that he was asked to do it, but just kind of like, well, this is what you do, is you make it Tolkien. And this is what else you do. You make it your fucking own.
Yeah.
It's like, and you just, here we are in the Shire, and then guess where we are? Nowhere fucking similar. Like it's nothing like that at all. By the time you're even a couple hundred pages in.
All right, we still got one more chapter. Tom's got barely no time left. Let's go. Chapter 53, The Wheel Turns. Rand's perspective.
I just wrote, they go back to Faldar at a party.
That is exactly true. So I wrote, the blight closes in. Loyal is sad about the trees. He sings to the oak tree, which I call Balthamel's gravestone. They leave and the green man's place disappears.
I love that Ingtar is just like, oh, you guys won? Great. Everybody else won too? Great. But I'm just mad I wasn't there. What a glum little bitch. And I love Ingtar.
I love Ingtar too, for a dark friend.
I love the character.
I do too. I actually really like him. I do like part of my brain, even, I mean, not anymore, obviously. We read it a million times, but like the first time you read this, when they're leaving, I was like, well, what the fuck are they going to do when they leave the green man's place? It's still going to be just as dangerous. And then
there's
you're
still
like,
sticks.
Yeah, there's still sticks out there.
There's sticks. There's stones. God damn it, man.
The blight being still and it's been struck a great blow and that kind of stuff, I'm like, that's kind of fucking cool. It didn't even like occur to me that like the blight would react to what had just happened.
Agreed.
And that's pretty awesome.
My first thought was, well, the blight moves, or I mean, not the blight moves. The green man spot moves, so maybe it'll be kind of at a more helpful,
like convenient exit spot.
That was my thought. Clearly, that's wrong. What I did appreciate, though, by the way, or what I did not appreciate, I'm sorry, I would have loved, because, you know, Loyal does this awesome tracing, right, for the green man's grave. I would have loved him to come up in the last battle, in the last book, to find that oak tree.
That would have been really cool thing for maybe Fail to stumble upon or something.
Yeah, I would have thought that would have been just
like we're in the blight quite a few times at the end of the books.
I would have loved that, because I thought that was a really cool thing that Loyal did. Technically,
and they would have seen like some Trolloc script that said like, "Here lies Balthamel, the greatest of all the Forsaken."
The rapiest of all the Forsaken.
The rapiest of all the Forsaken.
He would stick it in anything.
And he did. Stuck in this tree, technically. He was trying to...
And he did. And he eventually died by creepers up his rectum.
Like one of them standing there, and Pale's like, well, what does it say? And he's like, and they're like, well, it says, and he did, and he did, and he did, and he did. It's weird. It just keeps going into the roots.
like forever.
It just keeps saying, and he did, down into the ground. I don't know what else it says.
Oh, wait, look on the other side. Oh, raped him, and he did, and he did. Got it.
Oh, that's what it is. Spring's racing to catch up. The Shanairians are super excited and happy that they get back. I just wrote Moraine is super secretive about the banner and the horn.
So here's a question. I think it's Lan tells Loyal that he's a good man. And Loyal kind of like looks at him and scoffs. Is it because technically Loyal's not a human at all? He's actually a alien species? Or because he doesn't want to be considered human?
Interdimensional species.
Yeah. That's a weird one. Of all the things I would never have guessed was not native to this earth, 20 years ago. I think that one's...
Yeah, I almost feel like this should be like a Stormlight Archive type thing where the humans, like Loyal is the original race, like the Ogier have always been here, and that we're like somehow invaders.
The Voidbringer humans.
Yeah.
Where does this information come from? Like the encyclopedia?
No,
what, the fact that they aren't from here?
Yeah.
It's in the books. It's just very circumspect, but like over time, it's very obvious that they're not from. Yeah, it's also again about it's a very Tolkien-esque, like the elves sail on ships to the other world or whatever. Like it's very like the Book of Translation is very much like we open a portal and we leave. You know,
in the Grey Havens, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So anyway,
so I don't know where it's actually spelled out. It must be in what maybe it's spelled. Is it spelled out in the Big White Book that they're like? Because it's not literally like they have spaceships and they landed on the planet. It's just like
the Big White Book came out in between books 7 and 8, I think. It's after.
I'm not sure where that became common knowledge. I guess is to answer your question.
Maybe after Jordan dies, like.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It makes me like the books less.
It's not like it's that weird, though. I mean, in the grand scheme of things,
I think it's weird because there's no other species like that.
Yeah, I don't care for it.
Yeah, I agree. What's interesting, the only reason it's important is the fact that like they could have left, but they didn't. Like, which by the way, congrats. That's also called just hanging out in a steading anyway.
It's called doing better than Rand did when he ran away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we already had your kind in this book. But
is it weird how insistent Moraine is that the horn reached Ilion?
Yeah. So what? Yeah, I guess the real plot.
Why? Just because the hunt of the horn is there? What does Ilion have to do with it at all?
Does she want to put that thing in the hands of literally any hunter we've ever met? They're all morons.
Apparently.
It's and not only that, so Ilion is famous for being like origination, followed by they all fucking leave. There's plenty of towns that have hunt for the horn, like pieces of them in their history.
Yeah, it's not like that the horn is supposed to end up with one of the hunters of the horn anyway.
Yeah. Also,
what does fucking Ilion have anything to do with it other than that's where they tell the story and that's where the hunt begins?
Shit, Joe, to your point, when is the horn never makes it to Ilion, does it?
No, not once. It has nothing to do with anything.
It's literally Ilion is the one spot it never goes.
I think it travels the entire continent twice.
It's literally never sent it to Ilion because they don't know it's there.
Anyway, that stood out to me very strange. I was just like, why is she so adamant that it, whatever. Anyway, moving on. Practices with Rand plans to leave them. Moraine's been avoiding me. I'm like, all my notes say is, you manipulative bitch. Because that's what she's doing to him right now.
Some solid reverse psychology.
Yeah. Just like, oh, you want to talk to me? I don't want to talk to you. And then that goes on for 4 books.
She talked to me. Talk to me.
Oh, I don't. She doesn't hang out with him. He hangs out with her.
It's a big
Anyway, so Egwene is kind of like, why don't you just go to Tar Valon with us? And he's like, no, I can't. It's called being gentled. Abi, brah.
Before we finish, because I'm sure there's no jokes to hit on, do you think the most unhappy person in the entire fucking North is Ingtar? Like, he literally, it seems like he didn't get to fight because he got there late.
100%.
So he got neither the ability.
What we find out is he actually wasn't a Darkfoot until this moment. This is what turns him. God damn it! I missed the fight there. I missed the fight here. What am I doing?
Why be a good guy if I never get to fight?
It's legitimately like,
I'm gonna start letting fucking Darkfoot into Paldera. I don't care anymore.
Maybe if I do that, it'll make a war, and I'll actually get to fucking stab somebody.
He's like, I'd rather either win a fight or lose a fight instead of just watch it at the very end. Like, God, fuck it. Like, either just let the forces of man win or the forces of dark destroy man. Instead, bullshit battle.
He just walks back inside and everybody's celebrating. They're like, did you see Faldara won the Super Bowl? And he's like, nah, I was antiquing with my wife.
I was with my in-laws.
So, again, another thing that gives me chills down my spine at the very end. Rand's sitting there talking with Rand about how he kind of wants to leave, and he'd even cut his hand off to be done with the power. Whoops.
Moraine. Wait, that's real, Jono.
It's a book joke. Moraine just, the prophecies will be fulfilled, and the dragon is reborn. And fuck me, more chills down my spine. Like, I pretty much just read the last.
You got chills?
Book. I got chills. I just read it under a blanket.
Are they multiplying?
I wrote Egwene's like, why don't you be safe if you don't touch the source? And he's like, and she's also like, are you going home? And he's like, no, I won't go home. I'll be alone. I'll be home alone.
Literal podcast for this week. On a joke that's just for us.
So that's tWoTcast for this week. It's weird to say that from my own joke, though. If you have any comments or questions, the best way to find us is on Twitter at tWoTcast.
Listen wherever you get your podcasts. You can email us at twotcast@gmail.com.
You can join us in conversation on our Discord server, permanently linked at the top of our Twitter profile.
It's forgotten our Twitter profile.
We've also forgotten how to use Discord.
No, I mean, I know how to use it. Just
we're on Patreon now. That's patreon.com/tWoTcast. If you enjoy the show, help us out and give us $1. Also, thank you to all our current patrons. You guys are awesome.
I guess I'll do this. tWoTcast theme song brought to you by the one, the only, the Taffy Bennington. At Sing with Taffy with 2 F's on Twitter, and Anarchy101 on YouTube.
I'm just going to add the one, the only into the script since you say it verbatim every time.
What's Etheridge about the, you're the only one.
Join us next week for our reread of The Wheel of Time, maybe The Great Cunt, maybe a few special episodes. We don't know. Maybe we just take a small break before we do the next book. So by next week, I mean maybe in a few weeks. We don't know.
Great cunt.
It's summertime. Things get weird. I'm Joe. You've been listening to Jono, and Tom.
Stow your mouth.
Keep the change, you filthy animals.
All right, everyone shut the fuck up.